out on the baking aisle. But never happens. And temperatures as low as 60 degrees can be deadly for children left behind. So always bring them with you, and every time you park the car, stop, look, lock. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
When a warrior faces adversity, he fights through it. He finds a way. Freedom isn't free. Rolling strong. Belief. Believe you can, and you will.
Wheelchairs for Warriors provides mobility solutions to veterans and first responders injured in the line of duty. Join the mission and visit wheelchairsforwarriors.org.
KDKA and KDKA-FM HD2 Pittsburgh. W261AX Pittsburgh.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Aetna Medicare studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
It is 67 degrees at Pittsburgh International at 11 o'clock. I'm Rob Taylor. 2 people were taken to the hospital following a crash late last night along Route 51. It happened just before midnight between Lime and Lewis Streets. It's unclear the conditions of the 2 people who were taken to the hospital. Pittsburgh police are investigating the crash. Well, the man who died after the dirt bike he was riding collided with the PRT bus in Homewood has been identified. Allegheny County Medical Examiner says it was 33-year-old Deshaun Davis. Now, this accident happened around 6 o'clock Saturday evening at Frankstown and Brushton Avenues in Homewood, and Davis was pronounced dead at the scene. Tracy Hall runs a food truck in the area. She was about a block away from the incident, and she told KDK Television.
It's a tragedy. I pray to God comforts his family.
And right now, the incident is under investigation by Pittsburgh Regional Transit Police. Pittsburgh police say they located an unresponsive male on the ground in a parking lot of an auto shop business this morning around 4:30. This was in a 5700 block of Forward Avenue in Squirrel Hill. Police said his injuries were consistent with being run over by a vehicle, and he was pronounced dead at the scene. A woman was taken into custody for questioning. No word on if charges will be filed against her. Pittsburgh Police Violent Crime Unit detectives are leading the investigation. Well, a professional basketball player was taken into custody as soon as he got off a flight at Pittsburgh International Airport. This happened Friday. Police say 36-year-old DeAndre Kane failed to appear for a family court hearing about missed child support payments from 3 years ago, and now police say he owes more than $100,000 in child support. When he returned to Pittsburgh Friday from Iceland, where he plays basketball, that's when authorities arrested him. He was taken to the Allegheny County Jail to await a hearing in family court. Kane starred for the former Shenley High School's team, leading them to a City League championship in basketball in 2008. KDK Radio News Time, it's almost 11:03. It's time to visit RomeMonuments.com. Life is a journey to remember. Memorialize that journey. RomeMonuments.com. AccuWeather forecast next.
Life's best moments start with perfect choices. For Connie Nowak, it was a trolley ride and a 67-year love story. A life of family, smart decisions, and companionship with Chester the cat. Her retirement choice, the Village at St. Barnabas. Recreation, healthcare, close to family, everything on her list. Plus, it's an exceptional retirement value with a flexible entry process and affordable rates. St. Barnabas Retirement Communities, stbarnabascommunities.com, or call 724-444-5568.
Paid advertisement for non-attorney spokesperson. Victory Legal Network is not a law firm. Cases may be referred to participating law firms. Compensation is not guaranteed.
Attention parents. Was your baby born premature and then given Similac or Enfamil brand formula in the hospital? Studies now show that premature infants given cow's milk-based baby formula face a much higher risk of developing necrotizing enterocolitis, or NEC. If you or your loved one had a premature baby and was given one of these baby formulas, you may qualify for significant compensation. Visit govictory44.com now to see if you qualify. A recent jury awarded awarded $60 million in compensation to the family of a child who developed NEC. Families are now taking action. Visit govictory44.com now to see if you qualify for significant compensation. If your baby was given Similac or Enfamil and later diagnosed with NEC, you may qualify for significant compensation, but time is limited. Strict filing deadlines apply, and waiting could mean losing your opportunity for justice. Don't wait. Visit govictory44.com today to see if you qualify. That's govictory44.com.
Paid for by Victory Legal Network.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Today brings a good deal of sunshine and a rather nice second half of the weekend with a high of 76 with just some clouds around for tonight and a low of 49. That somewhat chilly start gives way to another comfortable day tomorrow with plenty of sun, the high 75, with more sun and more nice weather Tuesday, high again 75. For AccuWeather, I'm LaTroy Thornton, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
It's sports down and dirty, Pittsburgh style. It's the Black and Gold Sunday Show on News Radio KDKA. Presented by Coons Market, a Pittsburgh tradition. And brought to you by Leon's Billiards and more.
Do I have a show for you today that I've been working on over the last hour while you were at church and obviously confessing your sins? And that's a good thing. We all need to do that from time to time. But coming up shortly, Joe Giordano, of course, recently celebrated a big birthday live from his other place that is his home now, formerly the Pitt Panther baseball coach, IMG Academy in the Sunshine State of Florida. Lots to get to with our Pittsburgh Pirates, but I have just secured at the bottom of the hour former Duquesne Duke standout, and when Monaca had a high school and a basketball team, Mickey Davis, who played in the NBA for a number of years. He will preview the NBA final, which was locked up last night after San Antonio knocked off the defending champion OKC Thunder and the league's MVP, SGA. And Wembanyama now will go against that Knickerbocker team that is back in the finals for the first time, I believe, since 1999. But also, I just recently watched a documentary entitled When the Garden Was Eden. It talked about former Senator Bill Bradley, Dave DeBuscher. It talked about Jerry Lucas. It talked about Walt Frazier, Earl the Pearl, none other than that legendary coach Phil Jackson in 1970 and 73. He will be here to reminisce about Madison Square Garden and taking on one of the greatest group of basketball players ever assembled on one team in the history of the legend of the NBA. Pretty cool.
Yeah, looking forward to that one. Little history lesson for yours truly here, and get back into
So
the
here's
NBA.
what he's doing. He's throwing it on me so I don't sound like a dunce with Mickey Davis. So I'm going to have to ask most of the questions.
But I'll keep it going.
But I'm prepared. And top of the hour, a great individual who I've been with many times and I have a lot of respect for because I love that campus, Robert Morris University, University Boulevard. Derek Schooley will be with us, and he'll be talking about the NHL final, which will be Carolina and Vegas, and also the legacy of the late, sadly, suicide, took his life just a few days ago, Claude Lemieux.
Yeah, it will be interesting to hear that entire conversation with Coach, because it wasn't long ago that the Robert Morris program was going under, and they resurrected that in a stunning fashion to get things going back again, and got themselves back into the national picture fairly quickly.
I got to tell you, though, I can't wait to talk to Joe. He's in New Orleans, so he's going to be with us in a little bit. He said he forgot that the time is an hour earlier. So he's thinking it's a little after 10, but that's okay. He's the skip. We let him every once in a while have a little fun and take his eye off the prize, but he'll be with us in a couple of moments. I know he's only batting .258, but O'Neal Cruz is crushing the baseball. Hit his 13th homer yesterday. And what I've loved about this Pirates team against ex-manager Derek Shelton in Minnesota, and no, they don't have Rod Carew or Harmon Killebrew anymore, but I love the fact that this team, even though they've been down at times by a lot of runs and the starting pitching hasn't been that good, Mitch Keller, Jarrett Jones, the bats have brought him back. Brian Reynolds gets the walk-off. Cruz hits a homer in that game, hits a homer yesterday. And Connor Griffin batting .270, looking better each and every week, even with a sore forearm. things are pretty good for this Pirates team, even though they're, 5 out behind Milwaukee, who's been playing pretty good baseball.
Yeah, it's things are looking up to a certain extent. It would have been nice to at least get one more of those games with the Cubs, and they had to 4-game series, win the first 2. You would have liked to just get one out of the next 2, so you go 3-1 in that series. But if they can finalize this game today and get themselves to a 5-2 homestand, that wouldn't be bad.
Only because he's on my mind, and he's a former New Brighton alum. Francona's got himself in the basement with the Cincinnati Reds. Is that expected, or do you think they expected more in Cincinnati?
Well, I mean, basement is a relative term. The Pirates were close to the basement, but we're still happy with where we are. And this division has been so good. Everybody is above 500. Everybody's playing some fairly decent baseball. I don't think the Reds were expecting a whole heck of a lot out of the organization from what the tools that they've provided for Coach Francona.
Listen, I want to just let everybody know, next week, schedule permitting for him, because he's a busy guy, but I will be there, and I'm going to let my little brain do some incredible things to put together a cavalcade of stars, just real diehard sports fans. And if Mr. Diulis is there, we'll do it as well, but he may not be there. But I am going to do something. We're on location. It's the Rock and Regatta event. We're going to be there with the Jagoffs will be there. Michael Bartley's going to be there. But the Coons Market Black and Gold Sunday Show, Pittsburgh Brewing, that's in Creighton, Pennsylvania. 1 week from today, we'll be live and talking sports. And I'm going to get some real sports fans. We'll have a little panel that's going to join me there for a couple of libations and to talk about our beloved Pittsburgh sports teams. And this week I caught up with some folks, and believe it or not, one of the things that everybody wanted to talk about was the re-signing of Geno Malcolm and how happy they are about that.
Yeah, and it was one of those things that kind of wasn't really expected. Everybody was kind of thinking, well, maybe it's time to part ways. Not necessarily because they were disenchanted or unhappy with Geno, but with the fact that he had maybe outpriced himself. But I think he kind of took a little bit of the monetary haircut to stay within the organization. I think he really enjoyed the way that this year played out and the fact that they qualified for the playoffs and made a decent run.
Listen, I knew this guy, Coach, knew a lot of very important people, and I did text him on his birthday, but I saw that Gary Bowser actually sent and wished you a happy birthday on the internet, social media. So if you got a happy birthday from Gary Bowser, you must know all the right people from the right places. And, our parking lot here, there are so many cars from Bowser, it looks like a Bowser car lot. That's how many cars we have from Bowser. Listen, you're in New Orleans. What are you doing in New Orleans, Joe Giordano? Welcome to the show.
How you doing? I apologize. Like I said to you, Rob, I forgot about the time change, and we landed late last night. I'm just down here visiting a friend, and we had planned this about a month ago or so, and I just got, confused with the time change. I apologize.
No, don't worry about it. We love having you here.
I'm right out on St. Charles Street here, and just looking forward to enjoying a couple of days.
Hey, Joe, you got to watch out for those hurricanes and greyhounds at those places down there, man.
You got that right. And not the kind that come from the Gulf.
No, the kind that come in a glass.
That's right.
Well, it's
how about those Buccos?
Oh,
doing
come
all
on.
right, huh?
I'm loving it. And O'Neal Cruz. So let me begin with him. So they're concerned about his strikeouts. He's batting .258, but he's got 13 homers. So how do you correct the strikeouts? But everything else, I couldn't be more happy. Go ahead, Skip.
Well, I just, a couple of the at-bats that I was watching, it seems like he takes some pitches early in the count that look like they're drivable. Maybe just being a little bit more aggressive on the fastball. But, it's such a dangerous bat. I mean, he's one of those guys that, one swing of the bat can change a game. But you like to – we talked about this way back, and it's just an approach of at the plate. But, maybe with 2 strikes, just cutting down the swing a little bit and battling and move the baseball. But a guy like him, I'm sure like the skipper probably told him, hey, listen, you just keep swinging. We'll live with the strikeouts, but hit the ball out of the ballpark. But, so he's not going to be a 350 hitter, but he's going to produce a lot of runs with that bat.
Yeah, Joe, I don't. I could tell by the way you're talking. Take a two-strike approach. So you don't subscribe to, and it befuddles me how in some of the analytical approaches that people have today that the strikeout is not necessarily a negative statistic, and I can just not get that through my old head.
Well, I agree with you. I mean, I guess the point I was trying to make is that when you have a guy that he's in the lineup to put the ball in the seats, that's one thing.
Yeah.
But, from my perspective, I would like a lineup that you have hitters that can do multiple things. And I thought that, early on, that's what the Pirates are doing so well. They're going the opposite way, hitting behind runners, advancing runners, situational hitting. But I agree with you. I don't like giving outs away. And not making any adjustments with two strikes is, again, it's counter to, what old school people believe. And, don't let that last strike get by you. I'm going to battle. You're not going to get me out.
Especially this week, we saw a couple of times in both the Friday night game and in yesterday's game. I know you were traveling yesterday; you might not have seen it, but you had Andy Rodriguez strike out with first and third, nobody out in, I believe it was the sixth or seventh inning, in a situation where it's clear you need to put the ball in play. Just don't strike out. Almost any other outcome, even if you hit into a double play, at least you get a run. But you strike out there.
How about a safety squeeze there?
Yeah, it's something, anything. Now, they did try that with Triola, and he almost killed himself because he got hit they came up and in with the pitch. So it's not like Donnie Kelly isn't aware of the attempt of a safety squeeze, but especially, I guess, with Endy, I think they were figuring maybe they could go for a bigger inning. And with the game, when you got a game that ends 10-9, it's like a slow pitch softball game. Somebody's going to score.
All right, don't forget the Steelers will be taking on the New Orleans Saints coming up in Week 7 in Paris. And that's where the skip is today. He's down there in the French Quarter. Joe Giordano, former skipper of the Panthers. And, of course, IMG Academy. Lots more to get to about the Pirates and the Bigs right after this break on the Coons Market Black and Gold Sunday Show.
Now more than ever, we're the station you can trust for the information you need. KDKA.
This is Stories from the Pitch. Brought to you by the first ever Infiniti QX65 and by Lowe's. Give your yard its own moment with new limited time deals from Lowe's.
4 years after the night in Paris that no one could explain, Ronaldo returned. He'd shredded his knee twice in between. Some thought he'd never play again. He arrived in Asia with a new haircut, that strange triangular tuft on his forehead, and started scoring against Turkey, Belgium, England, Turkey again. By the final in Yokohama against Germany, he was the tournament's leading scorer. Then in the second half, he scored both goals. A scuff shot Oliver Kahn couldn't hold. A swept finish from a Rivaldo dummy. 2-0. Brazil's fifth star. Ronaldo dropped to his knees on the grass, eyes closed. The ghost of 1998 finally exorcised. The greatest comeback in the sport's history.
Stay tuned to this Odyssey station for more Stories from the Pitch.
My friends at NASCO Roofing take pride in exceeding customer expectations. Stephanie from Murraysville used NASCO for minor roof repairs. When a storm created substantial roof damage, she called NASCO. NASCO worked with Stephanie's insurance company and installed a beautiful brand new roof. NASCO has satisfied thousands like Stephanie. Get NASCO on your roof. Call NASCO Roofing, 412-373-2000, 412-373-2000. Most jobs done in a day. Special financing available. NASCO Roofing, NASCO.
Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
At Audion Hearing, our mission is simple: to make better hearing affordable for everyone. We're proud to offer high-quality, rechargeable hearing aids starting at just $98. Clear, comfortable, and ready to use right out of the box. And here's a study worth hearing. Research shows that wearing hearing aids can reduce your risk of dementia by up to 61%. Join over 1 million happy customers and hear the difference today by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
It's the Black and Gold Sunday Show on News Radio KDKA. Presented by Coons Market, a Pittsburgh tradition.
Okay, so let me ask you, Greg. Jared Jones, it wasn't the best of the best. Mitch Keller even got knocked around a little bit, but enough to at least give you hope. Jared Jones.
Yeah, it was enough to give you hope, and it was really crazy because he mowed down the first two hitters that he faced. Joe, we're talking about Jared Jones's entree back into Major League Baseball after a 600-day absence, and he mows down his first two hitters, strikeout, and then the next hitter hits one darn near across the Allegheny River. It wasn't a great return to the starting line or the starting rotation for Jared Jones, but there was enough there to think that he's going to be okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's just kind of jumping back into the pool, you know. you kind of off for a while, you cool off and warm up or whatever, but he just got to get back into the swing of things. He's going to be fine. And, you know, a couple of his pitches elevated a little bit, and command wasn't where it needed to be, but that's a first step that you have to go through to get back into the swing of things. So I think he'll be fine.
Seems like the weather might have broken, and the warm air is allowing the ball to fly a little bit better at PNC Park. Some of those home runs this week have been whoppers.
Yeah, I tell you what, looking at some of those exit velocities, and it's amazing. It really is. I don't know if it's the better quality, the wood of the bat, but the intensity of the swing and the power that these guys are generating is just incredible. I mean, the game is really evolving to another level. It's like golf. You know, it's like, how far can these guys hit a drive? You know, it's like it never ends.
It is very interesting, and even to see Brian Reynolds with the walk-off home run on Friday night, that ball was well into the second level of the left field bleachers. So I mean, these guys are really, you know, getting into it. Jake Mangum with a ball hit close to 400 feet yesterday for a little tyke. He's really been somebody, and I don't know what your read on Jake Mangum is, but he's a guy that just seems to make things happen. He's always, you know, we were talking about not striking out. He doesn't strike out very often. He's one that's, you know, he's willing to he gets you a bunt base hit yesterday, hit you a home run. That's a pretty unique stat to have a bunt base hit and a home run in the same game.
He's my type of player. You know, he's a dirtbag. You know, he's one of those guys that can't wait to get to the ballpark, and he has that energy, that intensity, and you know, there's just something about him that. But listen, when I was at Pitt, I had a bunch of those guys, and that's what we had to have. We had to have the grinders, the guys that do the little things and have a passion for the game, and really want to be in a position to just win. And whatever it takes to win, give it to me. I'll get it done.
Hey, Joe, you mentioned your days at Pitt. I had the chance to be in the company of a guy who remembers you fondly and considers you a friend. Andy Mazie, the former head coach at West Virginia, was at an event at the Greenbrier that I was at, and had good things to say about you.
Randy's a great man. We've been friends for a long, long time, and back to when he was the head coach at University of South Carolina, Aiken.
Wow.
And he was a special guy and a good man. Did did a great job throughout the years, and still a friend today. Always enjoyed competing against those guys, for sure.
It's interesting. I heard a rumor yesterday that the current head coach at West Virginia may be moving on to South Carolina, and that Coach Mazey may return to WVU. So all kinds of things. What goes around sometimes comes around in the area of college baseball.
Yeah, Coach Saban is doing a pretty good job, and I hear it's he's one of the top candidates for South Carolina. So, boy, that would be great. Bringing a guy like Randy back into the dugout, good for college baseball. He's a classic.
All right, last question for Joe Giordano, joining us Metropolitan Window video screen today. He's in New Orleans. Now, next week, Coach, we're going to be on location at Pittsburgh Brewing in Creighton, Pennsylvania, so you can just phone in next week as opposed to Zooming in. So we're putting together a list of folks who are going to join us. We're going to have some fun. Rockin' Regatta will be on location, Coons Market Black and Gold Sunday Show, Pittsburgh Brewing in Creighton, PA, a week from today. So they've had some success with interleague play, 31-28, 6 games out. The challenge is sustaining an offensive production from this unit against these Central Division opponents. So what can they do to kind of shore things up and keep it rolling when they take on teams that matter in their own division? Go ahead.
Well, listen, I think it's it's one of those things where if you have a good approach at the plate, you have a good game plan, you know who you're facing, be a tough out. Just make sure that you're extending that pitcher, get into the bullpen a little bit. Whatever they can do to make it more difficult for that pitcher, make it more challenging. No easy outs. Those situational at-bats are critical. It only takes one at-bat that can change a game, obviously. But that's not necessarily hitting the ball out of the ballpark. That's maybe advancing a runner, getting a sacrifice bunt down. Those little things count. And the teams that do more of those little things over the course of a season, they win 5, 6, 8 more games by doing those little things. That's the difference in your season. So Pirates just got to stick to taking a great approach at the plate, situational at-bats, and making sure that bullpen stays strong.
Hey, Joe, how would you handle the situation? Speaking of the bullpen, there's a new guy that's a member.
Stay strong. I'm saying you understand what I mean.
We know what you mean.
From the bullpen, yeah.
Speaking of the Pirates bullpen, they're adding Carmen Majinski to the bullpen, and he's not happy about it. A good friend of mine who calls the show quite often, Mark from Dormont, said, what the Pirates should do is tell him, hey, you're going to be a vendor this week if you don't want to be in the bullpen. How would you handle the reaction that Majinski had, which was, pretty much rebellious as far as, hey, I don't want to be in the bullpen?
Well, I mean, the way I look at it, if you're a team guy, what do I need to do to contribute to the success of this team? And if that means that I have to go to the bullpen, so be it. It's just like a hitter that, the one thing that a skipper wants is he knows what he got when somebody goes into a game, is a starting pitcher, first baseman, catcher, whatever. They want to know what they got. And there's been some inconsistency there, right? So they're trying to make a couple of changes, mix things up, and hopefully become a better team. But, yeah, I'm not a big fan of that. Whatever skipper wants, you got to do for your team.
All right, listen, thank you for your time. Enjoy your stay in the Bayou, and we'll catch up with you next week, okay?
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
Hey, Joe, go get brunch at Commander's Palace, man. I hear it's fantastic.
You got it.
All right, short break. Mickey Davis, former Duquesne Duke star, Milwaukee Bucks star, previews the NBA Final and looks back at those Knicks from 1970 and 73, two-time world champs. Next, Coons Market Black and Gold Sunday Show.
Soldiers and Sailors Memorial Hall and Museum recognizes Pennsylvania's combat veterans who have received medals for gallantry. With this Hall of Valor moment, here's the Education Director of Soldiers and Sailors Memorial Hall and Museum, Tim Neff.
Sergeant Thomas J. O'Toole of Allegheny County was awarded the Silver Star in Korea on July 8, 1953. O'Toole manned a listening post on contested ground forward of the main line of resistance. As midnight approached, an enemy force launched an attack in which they employed automatic weapons and numerous grenades. O'Toole, responding at once, mortally wounded 3 in the initial hours of fire and continued to lay heavy fire on the oncoming enemy until his weapon was blown from his hands by an exploding grenade. He then moved to a position where one of his comrades had fallen and took up his weapon, alternating hurling grenades and leveling effective fire until the enemy was routed and withdrew in disorder.
To nominate a qualifying hero for the Hall of Valor, please contact Tim Neff at soldiersandsailorshall.org.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
It's Marty Griffin. I have seen so much anger these days. You know what's overwhelmed me with joy and optimism? This Get Marty. The folks in this community that have stepped up. You can't help your neighbor if you hate your neighbor. Get Marty epitomizes that opportunity to help people, feed people, clothe people, educate people. If you need me, get Marty at KDKRadio.com. It's where we will find a way to help you.
Presented by UPMC Health System, Phil DeLuceni and Associates, Cousins Roofing, Siding and Decks, and by Harold Shepley and Associates. From the Aetna Medicare Studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
It is 69 degrees at Pittsburgh International at 11:30. I'm Rob Taylor. Pittsburgh police say they located an unresponsive male on the ground in a parking lot of an auto shop in Squirrel Hill this morning. They located that man around 4:30. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Police say his injuries were consistent with being run over by a car. A woman was taken into custody for questioning. Pittsburgh Police Violent Crime Unit detectives are leading the investigation. 2 people were taken to a hospital following a 3-vehicle crash on Route 51. Had happened just before midnight last night between Lime and Lewis Streets. Still unclear the conditions of the people who were taken to the hospital. Pittsburgh Police investigating the crash. And police are still searching for a woman who they say stabbed another woman Friday in Wilkinsburg. Happened on Cole Street. Police say 36-year-old Brittany Williams, after she allegedly threatened or stabbed the female victim with a box cutter, she threatened others with that same box cutter, according to police. That female victim was taken to the hospital. No word on her condition. Williams is facing charges including making terroristic threats, assault, and reckless endangerment. She's still at large. KDK Radio News Time, 11:31. Next updates at noon. I'm Rob Taylor on the Voice of Pittsburgh. News Radio KDK.
The biggest reason Metropolitan Window Company has been in business since 1978 is our huge list of satisfied customers.
John, Maggie, and Justin Schmutzer here from Metropolitan Window Company, Pittsburgh's locally owned and family-operated window and door company for over 47 years.
When you choose Metropolitan Window Company, you're getting expertise and attention to detail from a trusted business that puts your needs first.
You're also getting our exclusive Infinity from Marvin 100% fiberglass windows that are built for life.
The most important part of a window is the framing. Fiberglass frames won't lose their dimensional integrity. They're the strongest, longest-lasting window you can buy.
And right now, you can save 20% and get financing on every window and door product we offer.
Stop by one of our showrooms, visit us at metropolitanwindows.com, or give us a call at 412-655-8411.
PA 1565. Here's the latest from the KDKA Community Message Board.
It's back in the heart of downtown Pittsburgh. Rock, Reggae, and Relief returns Saturday, August 8th, featuring UB40, Allie Campbell, G-Love, and more. Enjoy summer vibes while supporting Cafe Momentum. Get your tickets today at rockreggaerelief.com. New to Rivers Casino? Join now and earn up to $1,000 free slot play. Stop by Rush Rewards on your next visit to start earning today.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. March of Dimes that starts with Mom PA Military Shower helps pregnant military families have one less thing to worry about with a fun, informative, and free baby shower Saturday, August 22nd at the 316th Sustainment Command. If you're pregnant and you or your partner are an E6 or below active duty, reserve, or veteran military service member, call 412-506-8610 to join them.
Details at KDKA-radio.com.
In a world in need of a hero, one man rises to the challenge in style. He is...
just driving the kids to soccer practice.
Make every day feel epic in the all-new Hyundai Palisade Hybrid with up to an EPA-estimated 619 miles of range on select trims, advanced tech, and class-leading interior space. Visit HyundaiUSA.com or call 562-314-4603 for more details.
And hey, come on, no cleats on the seats.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Nice finish to the month of May. Mostly sunny this afternoon. I-76, partly cloudy tonight, low 48. Sunny to partly cloudy tomorrow. I-75, mostly sunny, still dry Tuesday, up to 75. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist John Feerick, 100.1 FM and AM 1020, KDKA.
All right, here we go. Be back with you on Monday, and it'll be a great one. Enjoy the weekend, and I'll talk to you on Monday. Colin Dunlap right here, KDKA, 2 to 6.
You know, I have loved the NBA since growing up watching it. The late 60s, obviously Russell and Chamberlain and Jerry West and Oscar Robertson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Milwaukee Bucks, my beloved Knickerbockers with Willis Reed, Senator Bill Bradley, DeBusschere, Lucas, Earl the Pearl Monroe, and the list goes on and on. But there is a connection to it all, a little town that I call home now, Monaca, Pennsylvania, that sent 3 players to the NBA, one being Brad Davis, who went to the University of Maryland, the other Billy Zoff, and then this guy who went on to play for the Duquesne Dukes and played in the NBA and played against some of the best Knickerbocker teams in the history, being that they won 2 championships in a very short period of time, 70 and 73. Let's welcome Mickey Davis back to the program. Mick, thanks so much for short notice joining us today. I hope all is well in sunny Florida. Good morning.
Everything is well. I appreciate being connected back to Pittsburgh.
All right, so Greg Diolis is here. Diolis Law, Milk and Honey Sports Entertainment. Big fan of everything, but I'm the NBA guy here, so I'm getting ready for the Knickerbockers back in the final for the first time, I think, since '99, taking on San Antonio with that phenom, Wembanyama, who's 22 years of age and 181 days, and he's headed to the final. He is unstoppable, more like a power forward as opposed to a center at 7'4". But here's the thing that I really love is the Knicks from that era that I just mentioned. It's really when I was getting baptized in the NBA. So I'm watching a documentary entitled When the Garden Was Eden, and they talked about from 69 to 73. Obviously, all the names I mentioned, including the number 6 guy off the bench, Phil Jackson. And I'm here thinking today, and I'm like, I bet Mickey Davis, my childhood hero, actually played against these Knickerbocker teams. So talk to me about some of the names that I mentioned. And the one thing they kept talking about in this documentary is how they played as a team. Talk about those Knicks teams from 69 to 73 that won 2 world titles in 70 and 73. Go ahead, please.
Sure. Whenever you talk about any of those particular individuals, one of the main characters of that cast, if you will, was obviously Willis Reed. And he stood out for a number of different reasons. And people probably don't realize that as much as an impact as he had in the 1970 championship versus the 1973 championship, if you remember in 1970, he had a thigh injury and a pulled muscle. And he came out and actually played in that game to win the championship and the MVP. But the reason I mention him is whenever you talk about a guy like Willis Reed and Walt Frazier and Dave DeBusschere, Willis Reed, during his career, was only the 5th leading scorer on that team. Everybody scored more than Willis Reed. And to me, what that said about him is he was the ultimate team player. He accepted his role. He passed the ball well. He did his rebounding. He did his scoring as necessary. Played great defense against Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, against Wilt Chamberlain, and all those tough centers from that particular era. But whenever you look at that ensemble, of players back then, even going into the substitutions of Jackson, Barnett, Bibby Riker. They had a tendency under Holtzman to play an aggressive, fast-paced type of basketball. And is that contrary a little bit to how Willis Reed played? It did. But those guys would run up and down the court. If you remember, as they would run up and down the court, Willis would always be coming down the court a little bit after they were getting set up in the offense. So if they didn't get the shot off right away, Willis would be down, set up in the pivot down there, and they would run their offense. So what that means is they could do the running game exceptionally well with Frazier and Monroe running it and Bradley filling the outside lanes with his quickness. And if they couldn't get the score immediately, they set it up and worked around the fundamentals and the foundation of Willis Reed. It was just a great time to watch them play. And if you realize back then, they weren't the best team in the East. Boston was, by far. I mean, they won 57 games, but back then Boston won 62, and they were the heavy favorites. And New York ended up beating them to go on to win the finals. And both ended in 73, once again, dovetailing back to Willis Reed. He got the MVP for that playoff series also for that championship.
Mickey, if I may ask you, when you talk about Willis Reed, and much like yourself in your days at Duquesne, he may have not been the leading scorer of that team, but when the game was on the line, the ball seemed to find him, and he was one of those guys. A lot of times in sports, you have guys that are on the court or on the ball field that when the game is on the line, they're sitting there saying, I hope it goes to somebody else, as opposed to the other guy that says, I want the ball, I want to make things happen. He was one of those, I want the ball, I want it to come to me guys.
Constantly. There are actually two of them. I don't want to shortchange Walt Frazier either. If you're looking for the two people from the New York Knicks that were going to get the ball when the game was on the line, it was Willis Reed and it was Walt Frazier. And quite frankly, you would always see Willis Reed be able to get down on the box on the lower perimeter there of the lane, and they would always be able to get that ball into him, and he would do that slow turnaround, fadeaway, left-handed shot that seemed like nobody could block, but it always had that soft touch and always seemed to find the bottom of the net.
Yeah, and you could always tell that it was coming, but there was almost nothing you could do about it.
That's correct. That's correct. That's why it was fun to watch.
When Earl Monroe came over, who was one of my favorites with the then Baltimore Bullets, played with the great Wes Unseld, he even talked about how strange it was, Mickey, going into the Knicks locker room because they were bitter rivals. But Walt talked about how they became the best backcourt in basketball. Look, I believe if you could put them in a time machine and bring back Walt Frazier and Earl Monroe, the Pearl, right now, they would do the exact same thing. They were just that good together, were they not?
They were, and they were deadly as a combination. They worked extremely well together in the backcourt. They both played defense well, probably Walt playing a little better defense, but as far as a scoring machine, they were both equally capable of scoring at any given point in time. But I'll also mention to you, even though the Knicks beat the Lakers, as you know, in the 73 series to win it all, I will say they went up against another great duo in Jerry West and Gail Goodrich.
Oh, yeah.
For the Lakers, too.
Great. What's funny, even in this documentary, Lucas would say something, then Jerry West would say something, and they were still chipper at a much later age. He got lucky. If we had it to do over again, Wilt Chamberlain would eat their lunch. It was really great. And here's what's so sad, but it's so nice to know that the game is changing. We have 24-hour cable sports, and we're talking about it on KDKA, the NBA, my beloved sport, and I wish we had a WNBA or an NBA franchise in Pittsburgh. But that win against the Lakers in 73, there was no footage, just a little bit of film of it, basically some still pictures. There were 2 TV cameras in the locker room. Marv Albert talked about it, and that was it. Can you imagine the NBA getting that little coverage today, Mickey?
Well, no. If you take a look at the NBA today as an entertainment factor, if you will, that would never happen. You probably got 2 cameras just on each of the benches, not even on the court, and not to mention anywhere else that it's going on.
Great.
But ironically, not to interrupt you, but whenever the Knicks played the Lakers, if you take a look at where Willis Reed was relative to scoring and rebounding and everything, being not the top one but the fifth one, Will Chamberlain was in that same position. Will was the fifth leading scorer on the Lakers at that time. He wasn't leading scorer. So they both had a very parallel type of existence with each of their teams.
Wow.
How about,
hey, Mickey,
go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
What was it like for a guy growing up in Monaca, Pennsylvania, to walk into and play in Madison Square Garden? It had to be a surreal experience.
You know, it was. I was going to say it was ugly. It wasn't ugly. It was scary. It was scary on both counts. We went in there my sophomore year. So that's back when the NIT was very, very strong. We played in the Madison Square Garden, and that one would set you back a bit as you walked in there. But going into the NBA and seeing that type of caliber player that you've been watching forever and recognizing what they're all about, how well they play the game and what they've achieved, that was extremely intimidating. In fact, it took a little bit of mental confidence building in order to go out there and play against them.
It had to be, exhilarating though, as a professional basketball player. All those, places that they're veritable palaces that you would play in, the arenas and the nice locker rooms. And now, I mean, today's game is 100% different than what you had to experience. But even then, it had to be a pretty cool experience to play in some of those great palaces.
You know, Mick, before you jump in here, one of the things in this documentary, When the Garden Was Eden, you got to check it out. It's on ESPN. And ESPN Plus, is that until Walt kind of came and he actually, because he shined in the NIT tournament, that's when the Knicks looked at him and ended up drafting him. But until he came, it was nothing but a bunch of degenerate gamblers who were going to these games, all men in the fedoras and trench coats, and they would smoke cigars to the point where you couldn't even see your hand in front of your face. There were so many people lighting up. So you talking about it being scary early on, I totally understand where you're coming from, Mick.
I mean, it was like that actually throughout the league. I mean, even when you were going to places like Chicago, you pretty much had a very similar experience as what you were experiencing with the Knicks. And even whenever we would go in to play Boston, I mean, these are fantastic places to play. But the strategy behind some of these teams, I can go down and give you the roster, but I always gravitate back to Boston. Whenever you walked into Boston Garden and you walked into the locker room there, it was like you were back in junior high. It was just a little concrete type of room with some hooks on the wall, and that was it.
Wow.
I mean, there was never any air conditioning whenever we were playing there in the playoffs. And then we always said that, Red Auerbach did that purposely to give the Celtics an advantage. But, oh, man, Boston was horrible.
That's the old idea. Like the University of Iowa used to paint their locker room pink because they thought there was a psychological advantage to doing that.
Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. Mickey, listen, I'm not going to keep you. I can't thank you enough. I have much love for you and your brother Brad, and obviously Billy in Monaco, where I call home. And I love it. I still look at the Washington Avenue courts every weekend when I go home, and I think about what once was some great basketball talent. But I want to end on this note, if I can. I love the Knicks, and it goes way back, and I'm hoping they win. But this Wembanyama kid, I've never seen anything like it. And he is a kid, 22 years of age. But Jalen Brunson, who won 2 national championships at Villanova with Coach Wright, just talk about him and talk about this matchup, and then we'll let you go. Go ahead.
I think Brunson, as a leader, has proved himself severely over the last 2 to 3 years. And I think whenever you take a look at the matchup that's coming between the San Antonio Spurs and the New York Knicks, I think the advantage, believe it or not, I believe goes to the Knicks. I understand Wemby, as great as he is, but even watching the game last night, he does play out, at that 25 to 30-foot range, takes a lot of three-footers. Now, if they can devise the plan that somebody can go out there and play against him and defense him out along the perimeter, I think the Knicks have it won. Hartenstein could not go out there and run around the perimeter with Wemby. He just couldn't do it. I think Towns may be able to do that. And if he can, Wemby's going to have a harder time getting off that shot. And you know that he does not like to go inside. If you take a look at the rebounding to time issue that he plays, it is very light. So he's going to be running around the perimeter, and if they can figure out the defensive strategy against that, somebody stay with them, you got to like the Knicks.
You know, I thought Brad was a great analyst all those years with the Mavericks. How's come you never got behind the microphone?
You know, whenever I got cut, I had a couple of opportunities to go into coaching, and my wife sat me down and said, you know what, number one, you don't have the patience for it, and number two, the discipline of the game has changed so dramatically that you wouldn't enjoy it, and you probably wouldn't be good for the kids.
Well, let me tell you, you're still a hero to many, including me. Thank you so much for your insight. Enjoy the rest of the sunshine in Florida today, okay?
I appreciate you having me on. It was very kind of you. Thank you.
Class act. Listen, he was a hell of a basketball player.
What a classy dude. That was really cool listening to him.
Listen, man, this guy played against those guys.
Yeah.
I mean, Willis Reed coming out of the locker room, 1970, tearing that warm-up jersey off. And Phil Jackson talked about they put a needle in him that was huge. He said, he showed it like on camera, and I'm thinking, that had to hurt. This guy was dragging his leg up and down the court. I mean, incredible. And sadly, so many of those great Knicks and those memories of that era, those folks are gone. We still have some great ones with us, but so many are gone, including the great Jerry West, the pride of West Virginia. We'll come back, tap dance to the top of the hour, then Derek Schooley is here to preview the NHL final between Carolina and Vegas, and also we'll look back at the legacy of the great Claude Lemieux, who died just a couple of days ago. All of that still to come, including the NFL with Ted Arnaud on KDKA.
Every Tuesday morning at 7:20, listen for Inside Independence Health, a look at all things healthcare with the experts from Independence Health System. It's brought to you by Independence Health System. Expert care here.
Andy Amrine here for Harmony Garden Organic Insect Control. This is not your average garden variety insect killer. Harmony is your only insect control you need for your garden. Nothing is safer, nothing works better than Harmony. Spray your trees, flowers, plants to kill garden pests including aphids, green fruit worms, mites, soil lice, and russets. To get your bottle of Harmony, ask for it at any participating True Value hardware store or online at harmonyoic.com.
Suffering from peripheral neuropathy? Learn how over 15,000 sufferers regained their comfort, mobility, and quality of life with Tri-State Neuropathy Center's successful treatment plan that is FDA cleared, non-invasive, and drug-free. Here's Sean Ritchie, DC, and Tri-State's founder about one of their many satisfied patients.
One thing I've learned about people that get numb with their neuropathy, they have balance issues, just like Bob from Gibsonia. His numbness got so bad, he started to have to shuffle and was starting to have some falls. After completing our FDA-cleared treatment program, he is doing so much better. In fact, he was at his friend's house and he was at the American Legions, and they couldn't believe the difference that they saw in him.
Tri-State Neuropathy Centers help Bob. Let them help you next. Call 724-940-9000 for a free consultation. That's 724-940-9000. Tri-State Neuropathy Centers, the leader in treating peripheral neuropathy. Learn more at marydanstin.com.
When it comes to family law, a lot has changed in recent years, so assumptions can be costly. If you see or sense a change coming in your family life that could have legal implications, it's important to know where you stand. Getting good legal advice early is never a bad idea. I'm Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. If you or anyone you know is facing a family law...
Cranberry Township, Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois only.
Attention, have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-358-6868. That's 800-358-6868. Again, 800-358-6868.
SchultzFord.com. 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 SchultzFord.com.
It's the Black and Gold Sunday Show on News Radio KDKA. Presented by Coons Market, a Pittsburgh tradition.
All right, so be honest with me. Of all the guests we've had, and we've had a lot of them, I think Mickey Davis was pretty good.
That was because you know me, I'm not an NBA guy. I was like a little intimidated because I didn't know what we were going to talk about. But he was so smooth and you know, kind of a charming guy. That was really neat.
Well, you know, it's funny how great minds think alike, and I'm talking you and him because not me. You guys were talking, and I'm thinking, I'd like to mention a player. I wonder if he would even remember Gail Goodrich. And
he brought it up.
He brought it up. Listen, Jerry West. Dagger in your heart. You know, he came across as this well-dressed cover of GQ, always dressed to the nines like you, hair all in the right place at all times, great GM, always had that California tan. And you're thinking, what a nice guy. They said he was nasty as a player, tough, grit.
Yeah.
And when this documentary from 2014, check it out. He literally, I'm waiting for him to crack a smile. And he still could not stand the fact that they lost to the Knicks. You know, he only won one title. He was in like 7 or 8 NBA finals.
As a player.
Yes.
Yeah, as a general manager, I think with the Lakers, he won tons.
Well, he brought Shaq and Kobe together.
Yeah.
I mean, but
he was also the logo on the NBA logo, right?
Still is.
Yeah.
But the thing that he talked about as he opened up and got older was the fact that he had a really rough dad in West Virginia.
Oh.
And his dad was pretty tough on him. And I don't know. I remember when he told the story, I was kind of fighting the tears a little bit. Because he was, like when I was growing up, man, everybody wanted to be Jerry West. You wanted the white high-top Converse.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, Wilt Chamberlain was the guy. And being that I became 6 foot before anybody in the neighborhood, and the reason I never really did well in basketball because I never learned to dribble. You know what I mean? Because I was the biggest guy, so I got the ball, I turned around, posted up, boom, banked it in, 2 points. You know? Led the church league, went on to, you know, with the sky hook and all that other stuff. But Jerry West, man, he was a great player. But my favorite of that era was Oscar Robertson, obviously Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, but I loved Earl the Pearl Monroe. They used to call him the Black Jesus.
Now, where did Pete Maravich fit within those guys? Was it same time frame?
Listen, I'm so glad you brought up sweet Pete Maravich, whose dad, Prest, was a coach in Aliquippa.
Uh-huh.
That dude, I don't know if you ever heard this, he wore the same socks, never washed them, for years. If you look at any picture...
Yeah, weren't they? There was no elastic in them, right? They were all down there on the shoes.
Look at whether it's college, LSU, or whether it's New Orleans, the Jazz, everywhere he played, even a short stint in Boston, he had low-top cons on, Converse, and those socks were always down covering the shoelaces. But what he did was amazing. And if you look at Magic Johnson and Earl Monroe and the behind-the-back passing, over the shoulder... He, I'm sure, was mimicking Earl Monroe, and I'm sure Magic was imitating Earl the Pearl and Pete Maravich. Just a great era in basketball. And I have a good feeling about this final. And I love this Wembanyama kid. He's got the French background, you know, just really cool stuff. And I think of Tim Duncan and Coach Popovich and the Spurs and that history. But I love the New York Knicks. This would be great for New York City, man. Great.
Yeah, were they 11 in a row now, right? They've won their last 11 games?
What's that?
The Knicks have won their last 11 games.
12.
Okay.
By the way, our man, Coach Schmidt, who I almost reached out to because you guys were at Greenbrier, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But outstanding segment, men. Oh, that's a pretty nice compliment. Eliciting fond memories as a 10 to 13-year-old kid following the Knicks and the NBA championship battles in that era. I thought that was not because we did it, but I think Mickey Davis was outstanding.
It was good.
It's that Duquesne degree.
Possibly.
Oh, listen, don't you love hometown stories that work out? I mean, think about Little Monaca, and Jerry knows it. I mean, it's like maybe at the height had 7,000 people, and it doesn't have anywhere near that today. 3 NBA players out of one town, little town. That's amazing, and it's the truth. I drive by the Washington Avenue courts every Sunday after a long weekend, and I park it. True story, so help me God. And I just gaze out over the asphalt and think of what summertime must have been back in the day.
And you talk about 3 players. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but there were only 12 teams. I mean, it's not like the 30 teams that there are today. So to get 3 guys into the league with that number, that's really impressive.
Yeah, I mean, and think about. You had Norm Van Leer in Midland, played for Chicago Bulls before the Jordan era, one of the greatest defensive players of all time. You had Simi Hill, who went on to play in professional basketball. I mean, it's amazing when you think And Maurice Lucas, who went to Shenley, played on that Bill Walton championship team with Portland. So great stuff. And if the coach appreciated it, it must have been okay. We'll take a break. Stay with us. New news. And then Derek Schooley, the head hockey coach, on the upcoming NHL final between Carolina and Vegas, and the legacy of the great Claude Lemieux, who passed away just days ago. That's next on KDKA.
While you sleep, there are people you've never met who are working hard to make your morning. People who get up at ungodly hours to make sure you get the information you want. People who dedicate their lives to make yours better while you sleep. These people come together during the Big K Morning Show with Larry Richert, 5:30 to 10 in the morning, to make sure you have the best news, traffic, and weather to start your day. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-700-6898. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-700-6898. That's 800-700-6898. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
KDKA and KDKA-FM HD2 Pittsburgh. W261AX Pittsburgh.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Aetna Medicare studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
It is 70 degrees at Pittsburgh International at 12 o'clock. I'm Rob Taylor. A man was killed after the dirt bike he was riding collided with a PRT bus. This happened Saturday evening around 6 o'clock at the intersection of Frankstown and Brushton Avenues in Homewood. The man was pronounced dead at the scene. The man who died has been identified this morning as 33-year-old Deshaun Davis. It's not known if anyone aboard the bus was injured during that crash. The incident is under investigation by Pittsburgh Regional Transit Police. In Squirrel Hill this morning, Pittsburgh police found a man unresponsive on the ground of a parking lot of an auto shop business around 4:30 on Forward Avenue. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Police say his injuries were consistent with being run over by a vehicle. A woman was taken into custody for questioning. The violent crime unit detectives for Pittsburgh police are leading that investigation. 2 people injured in a 3-vehicle crash that occurred along Route 51 last night between Lime and Lewis Streets. It happened just before midnight. It's unclear the conditions of those 2 that were taken to the hospital. Pittsburgh police investigating that crash. Well, 3 people are facing charges in burglary and theft incidents that occurred in Washington County. Police took 18-year-old Mason Comfort of Washington into custody on Friday, and 2 other people who are juveniles are also facing charges. No word on if they are in police custody. Comfort is charged with burglary, criminal trespass, theft by unlawful taking, and loitering and prowling at nighttime. He's being held at the Washington County Prison. Professional basketball player taken into custody as soon as he got off a flight at Pittsburgh International Airport on Friday, as police say, for owing more than $100,000 in child support. Police say 36-year-old DeAndre Kane failed to appear for a family court hearing about missed child support payments from 3 years ago, and when he returned to Pittsburgh Friday from Iceland, where he plays professional basketball, that's when authorities were waiting and arrested him. He was taken to the Allegheny County Jail to await a hearing in family court. Kane starred for the former Shenley High School Spartans team, leading them to a City League championship in 2008. KDK Radio News Time, 12:02. The AccuWeather forecast next.
Save big on a new roof during Home Genius Exterior's Memorial Day roofing sale. Get 50% off all roofing materials, then take an extra $500 off, plus 0% APR and no payments till 2027. Call now to schedule your free, no-obligation roof and attic inspection. Save big with our best offer of the year. Call Home Genius Exteriors today at 855-U-R-GENIUS. That's 855, the letter U, the letter R, Genius. See website for details.
Been 30 time would have been 30, no, would have been 30, being 30, been 29. If that'll help, been 29,000.
Get ready to bid on the equipment you need in the Ritchie Brothers Northeast Regional Auction on June 23rd. Inventory is housed at locations in Pittsburgh, North Franklin, and Northeast Maryland with in-person inspections available. Bid on a wide selection of construction and transportation equipment. Don't miss this great opportunity. Visit rbauction.com/Pittsburgh to sign up. Again, that's rbauction.com/Pittsburgh.
Tickets are on sale now for the upcoming season of the Pittsburgh Speakers Series at Heinz Hall, presented by University of Pittsburgh, with Anderson Cooper, former UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson, historian Anne Applebaum, financial journalist Andrew Ross Sorkin, former NASA Administrator Charles Bolden, and acclaimed war photographer Lindsay Addario. For information and tickets, go to pittsburghspeakers.org. Sponsored by News Radio KDKA and the Spanos Group of Raymond James.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred roofing replacement contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Mostly sunny and beautiful out there for this afternoon. The high up to 76, and then partly cloudy tonight, the low 48. Comfortable again for tomorrow. Sunny to partly cloudy I-75. Mostly sunny Tuesday. Get up into the mid-70s. For AccuWeather, I'm John Feerick, 100.1 FM and AM 1020, KDKA.
It's sports down and dirty, Pittsburgh style. It's the Black and Gold Sunday Show on News Radio KDKA. Presented by Coons Market, a Pittsburgh tradition. And brought to you by Leon's Billiards and More.
All right, we're going to get to Derek Schooley, the head hockey coach of Robert Morris, in a little bit. So you were at Greenbrier with the coach, the man, Dr. Schmidt. I call him the doctor because he's so educated when it comes to the X and O's. But you were there really helping people who deal with the opioid issue. And in West Virginia, it is a monumental problem. Go ahead.
Yeah, we were there supporting a group called Game Changer. And Game Changer's basic goal is to eradicate the opioid addiction problem, particularly with young people in West Virginia. And I know our signal goes into a good part of the state of West Virginia. And these guys with the executive director, Joe Bozick, and their spokesperson, Meg Bolger, they do a great job in just getting the awareness and eradicating the opioid problems from what's happening with the young kids, particularly the young people in West Virginia. But the event was attended by former Governor and now Senator Jim Justice, Governor Morrissey was there. Greg Norman was the keynote speaker.
The Shark.
The Shark was the keynote speaker and played in the golf event the next day. There's 30 people lined up hitting golf balls on the practice tee, right? And there's 29 of the spots were occupied. One spot was open. I go down to warm up. I'm warming up next to Greg Norman. Now, needless to say, the flight path of the balls coming across from those two different warm-up tees were varied, but his looked like rockets as compared to mine looking like bananas.
He can still stroke the golf ball?
Oh, he's so pretty. It's crazy.
Big Popeye forearms.
Big, he's got a little bit of a gut, but his arms, his chest looks like an 18-year-old.
You know his greatest accomplishment? And I'll take it to my grave. Wasn't all the great things he did on the golf course or this multi-gazillion billionaire entrepreneur with turf and all the stuff he's invented? He was married to my sweetheart, my love, my crush, Chris Evert.
You're not the only person who has said that to me this week.
This isn't fair. The guy had all this going for him. Then he goes on to make billions after, and he marries Chris Evert. I mean, come on, that's a trifecta right there.
Yeah. He told his story. He didn't play golf until he was 16 years old. He was a surfer.
Is he from Australia or New Zealand?
Yeah, Australia. Lived in Brisbane.
And that's why they called him Shark, because there's a lot of sharks
Exactly.
down
exactly.
there.
Some really cool pictures of him as a youth, and it was a really entertaining couple of days.
All right, here he is, the man, the myth, the legend. I love this guy. I love the University. Robert Morris, Derek Schooley. Time to talk a little hockey. He is en route back from Chicago, and he is joining us now somewhere on the road. Coach, great to have you here. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Coons Market Black and Gold Sunday Show.
How you doing today, Rob?
You're real good. I'm with Greg Diolis, of course, Diolis Law, Milk and Honey Sports Entertainment. Before we get into a quick preview of this Stanley Cup final, Carolina getting ready to take on Vegas, we got to talk about Claude Lemieux, who sadly lost his life via suicide just a few days after he walked that flame into the Canadiens' home ice, trying to get that flame to ignite, but it didn't happen. They ended up getting beat by Carolina. But I want to talk about this guy. 3 different franchises, Stanley Cups, 80 career playoff goals, 9th all-time, known as the King of Spring and a premier agitator, 1995 Conn Smythe winner, has since transitioned into a successful career as a player agent, obviously his family's furniture business, and no one understands, no rhyme or reason. So sad. That's why we talk about that number 988, there's always help. He takes his life. I never thought or never saw that coming. Your thoughts about the legacy of the great Claude Lemieux. Go ahead.
Yeah, you know what? I saw the same thing, carrying the torch, and I thought he looked great. And I hadn't seen him in a while. Saw him in a couple of rinks when he was an agent, but I hadn't seen him in a while. I thought he looked outstanding, and then the shocking news was heartbreaking. But as a hockey player, I don't think there was anybody that can go basically more decorated. He's only one of 11 players to win a Stanley Cup with 3 different teams. And I was fortunate enough to be at the Air Force Academy as an assistant when he was in Colorado. And he was the guy that you love to have on your hockey team, and especially in the Colorado region when they were battling with the Red Wings and the fights with Darren McCarty and hitting Chris Draper from behind. But he was a winner, and he won games. He won cups, and you wanted him on your team at that time of year, and that's why teams kept trading for him when they were going on runs.
Derek, he was one of those guys that really got under the skin. If you were, a fan of a team he was playing against, you hated his guts. If he was on a team that you were a fan of, you loved him. But he was one of those guys that wasn't just a prototypical goon. He could do everything. A very physical player, but could also put the puck in the net.
Yeah, I mean, he scored some massive goals in his career, and he was the guy, like you said, that you loved to hate. And when he was on your team, it was great. And nothing. If you look at all the tributes that went out, the best ones were from the guys that were on that Red Wings team that always battled and had the brawls and everything with Colorado. And Darren McCarty talked about you wouldn't turn your back on him on the ice, but he would turn his back on him any day off the ice, because he's just such a fun-loving guy and loved life, and they became friends through the whole thing. And I mean, it's one of those sad stories, but celebrate his accomplishments. I'm shocked, and I know that was one of the things that I read that he was always disappointed that he has not made the Hockey Hall of Fame or been elected into the Hockey Hall of Fame. He's definitely, when you win 3 cups, score that many goals, a Conn Smythe winner, you're a Hall of Famer in my mind.
I think if I had the last name Lemieux, I would have changed it if I were him, just because of all the shadow of the Mario Lemieux that he would have had to go through. But he certainly did, cut his own path and had his own legacy.
Well, there were so many Lemieux that probably should have changed their name because nobody's going to match up to Mario. But obviously no relation, but to have his name on that cup as many times and to do what he did as a player and then transition as a mentor, as an agent, as a friend to numerous NHL players right now is something that those players in the hockey world is saddened today.
All right, let me jump in here. And again, suicide 988, there's always help. Just those 3 digits on your phone will get you an immediate response. So if you're out there and you're in need of help, please reach out 988. And we know mental illness is a big problem. And we also have heard about athletes who've never really been able to get back to civilian life after playing at such a high level. But because of the violence of the game and obviously concussions that happen all too often, CTE, chronic or traumatic encephalopathy, you have to think about it and all the things that could be out there as far as possibilities. But what are they doing to make hockey safer, in your opinion, especially when it comes to concussions and head injuries? I know they now wear the helmets, but it's still a rough and tough sport. Go ahead, Coach.
Well, I think the one thing with the helmets is they're more safer now than they were. You don't see the old Jofa helmets like Wayne Gretzky and Phil Bourque used to wear. You see more protection, more safety. They've really limited headshots. Headshots used to be, if it was a great hit at center ice, most likely you got a shoulder to the chin. Now that's a penalty. They've educated kids growing up about checking from behind. I think the one thing that I see in college hockey is really that takes it out of play as much as is calling the penalty. You don't want to put your team down for head contact and things like that. And obviously fighting is on a dramatic downslide, and there isn't that in college, but you really don't see that many fights anymore comparatively to those days. And I grew up in those days, and I watched a lot of it playing in the East Coast Hockey League, but they've really taken those and deterred headshots. 2 referees on the ice calling penalties. There's a lot of things that hockey has done to limit the concussion scope of it happening.
Hey, Coach Bean, we got started a little bit later with you. Can I keep you through the break just to give us a quick preview of this NHL final? Is that possible?
I'm just in the car driving, absolutely.
All right, perfect. The great Derek Schooley of Robert Morris. You know, that program has come, both men and women. I mean, it's off the charts what they've done up there at Robert Morris.
It's the best program in the Northeast.
It's good stuff. All right, short break. We'll come back. Much more Derek Schooley in just a moment. We'll preview the NHL finals. They drop the puck Tuesday. It'll be Carolina taking on Vegas next.
Your source for official traffic information. Hear it on News Radio KDKA.
Pittsburgh, we've got a problem. Home care is in crisis and there aren't enough caregivers to meet the demand. So if you've got a loved one with Medicaid and needs care, don't wait. Freedom Care was built for this moment. We help you get care at home from someone you already trust. A family member or friend who can get paid to help with everyday needs like meals, medication, bathing, and mobility. If you have Medicaid, it's 100% free to you. No waiting lists. Just real care from your people right now. Freedom Care handles it all. Training, payroll, and support. So you can stay safe and comfortable at home, and your caregiver gets paid after every shift guaranteed. With 97% satisfaction and over 150 million hours of care delivered, Pittsburgh families are already making the switch to care at home. Take care of your own and get paid with Freedom Care. Call 412-844-5990. That's 412-844-5990. Call now, 412-844-5990. 412-844-5990.
Freedom Care, we're here for you.
Folks, we're joined again by John Diagardi of Rome Monument. John, what is bundling?
When a family is planning a funeral, sometimes cemetery salespeople will talk to them about bundling or combining products with their services. They may pressure a family, telling them they can get a substantial discount by buying everything from the cemetery.
Is this not a good idea?
Not when it comes to the monument. When there is a middleman involved, you're paying an inflated price, even when you think you're getting a discount.
John, this is something families really need to know.
I'm going to be as direct as I can be about this. At Rome, we are the manufacturer. No middleman is involved. Our artists and craftsmen make your memorial from start to finish right at our facility. You've eliminated the middleman and saved as much as 50%.
Friends, you can learn more at one of Rome Monument's 9 showrooms or visit RomeMonuments.com.
In a world in need of a hero, one man rises to the challenge in style. He is
Just driving the kids to soccer practice.
Make every day feel epic in the all-new Hyundai Palisade Hybrid with up to an EPA-estimated 619 miles of range on select trims, advanced tech, and class-leading interior space. Visit HyundaiUSA.com or call 562-314-4603 for more details.
And hey, come on, no cleats on the seats.
You just testified under oath you're getting more fiber in your diet, and it was easy? Where is this additional fiber coming from?
Mira Fiber Gummies.
Objection!
It's true. Mira Fiber has 8 grams of fiber to help me get the fiber I need in a day, plus 4 B vitamins for metabolism support. All in one serving.
Overruled.
My gut rests its case.
Oh, that's my line.
Find Mirafiber today at your local retailer from the makers of Miralax. Mirafiber supports metabolism of carbs, fats, and proteins. Serving size is 4 gummies.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
It's the Black and Gold Sunday Show on News Radio KDKA. Presented by Coons Market, a Pittsburgh tradition.
Rock and Regatta coming up a week from today. We are going to be at the Pittsburgh Brewing location in Crichton, Pennsylvania, right off of Route 28, the entire 2 hours of the broadcast. So we hope to see you there. Come out and pump and iron with us. Now, let's talk about this NHL final. It is Carolina and it is Vegas. Vegas easily handled Colorado, and Montreal was defeated by Carolina. Coach Derek Schooley of Robert Morris on the line with us. This series, Coach, features Carolina's elite 5-on-5 possession game against a very stellar goaltender in Carter Hart. And everyone knows goaltending, when you get a hot hand, can really get you a Lord Stanley's Cup more times than not. So talk about the 5-on-5 and talk about Carter Hart. Go ahead, please.
Well, I think you're looking at 2 goalies that were probably a little bit unknown going into the Stanley Cup Finals as being cup worthy, and Carter Hart and Anderson with Carolina. But what Carolina's done, winning 12-13 in the playoffs, is something that's basically unheard of. And you've got 2 series right now that ended really quickly. I don't remember the last time Eastern Conference, Western Conference Finals ended in 9 total games. And I think you're going to see a 5-on-5 play of a dominating offensive, down low, getting pucks low to high, shots on goal against a team that has been there and has an elite player like Jack Eichel playing for him, as well as a very hot goalie in Carter Hart.
Hey, Derek, it was kind of unprecedented to see Vegas make a coaching move just, in March.
That guy was doing TV.
To bring Tortorella in as their coach. And I guess he ignited something that was not there.
Well, I mean, you can't say bad things about Bruce Cassidy. He won a Stanley Cup final. But sometimes in the National Hockey League, you just need a change of voice. And with that, it's happened numerous times where teams have changed coaches and went on a big run. But it's also backfired. So that was a big risk. And it's good to see Tortorella back in the finals after almost 20-plus years. And he's just a charismatic presence that listens to players and communicates well, and really they've taken to him. And he didn't change anything. He didn't change anything with the structure, with the other staff members. He's just a different voice leading the ship right now.
And that's interesting because I guess he didn't feel like it wasn't like a completely broken unit. It just needed some little tender loving care, I guess, to a certain extent. But it will be interesting. One of the things about Vegas, watching them play, they have generated somewhat of a fan base in a place where everybody thought that this is just a transient community. Everybody that comes to games are going to be the visiting teams, but they've got a little bit of a local flavor to them.
Yeah, we had the Frozen Four there, so I was out there in April for, it seemed like a month being in Vegas, but it was really only 5 days. But it's become a real hockey hotbed. They've got a great setup with the T-Mobile Arena right next to right off the Strip. They've got numerous different things. They've built an unbelievable community arena out in Henderson for the practice. They put their American Hockey League team out in Henderson as well, and it's one of those things. And now they're getting a professional women's hockey league team to go along with it. And it's one of those things where they caught lightning in a bottle, and they won, and they had great expansion draft, and they've been to 3 finals in 9 years. And I'm from St. Louis, and I've grown up a Blues fan, and until they won the Cup in 2019, I was just born when they had been to the previous one. So you see what they do and how they do it, and they found different loopholes, putting guys on long-term injured reserve, and but it's caught on. You got the Caesar's Palace statue out there with a Golden Knights jersey on it. It's taken over that town, and it was fun to be out there for the Frozen Four, but it's rocking out there hockey wise.
Yeah, and it was cool. I guess we as Penguins fans, you kind of got a little bit of a bug for liking Vegas because they used Marc-Andre Fleury at the beginning. They brought him into their organization when the Penguins basically couldn't afford all the goaltending that they had and had to let somebody go in that expansion draft. So right away, the Penguin folks from Pittsburgh kind of had an affinity for Vegas.
Yeah, they did a great job with taking everybody's supposed trash. And when they were called at the beginning, and you hear them they still refer to themselves as the Misfits because they were what people didn't want. And you watch the history of expansion drafts. Usually they end up in last place, not 3 finals in 9 years.
Right.
Listen, I got to tell you, I liked you, Coach, but now I love you. I didn't realize you grew up in St. Louis. My father was born in a place called St. Joseph, Missouri, where Kansas City, the Chiefs train, and he was always just a few miles out of St. Louis. And you talk about the Gas House Gang with, Dizzy and Daffy Dean. But, man, when I fell in love with hockey really back in the day, people like Bernie Federko and Brett Hall. So St. Louis Blues have a lot of tradition, do they not?
Yeah, they do, and you go down the list of guys that played there. I grew up in the Bernie Federko era. They had the kid line way back when, and they had so many heartbreaks getting close, and they had a streak going of like 20 years making the playoffs, and they basically came out of nowhere to win the Cup in 2019. I was fortunate enough to go to Game 3 that they lost, and they lost fairly handily in that game, but the passion for hockey in that town is outstanding, and they love St. Louis. They love the Blues, and they love the Cardinals, and to see the Cardinals doing well so right now with in a little bit of rebuild is exciting as a St. Louis sports fan. But everybody always asks me, since the Rams left, who my team is, and you have to say the Steelers when you live in Pittsburgh now. So I'm still a Blues fan and Cardinals fan, and no disrespect, I love the Penguins. We got great friends in that organization, and but your Steelers, because I don't have a team anymore when they keep leaving between the football Cardinals and then the Rams.
Listen, I go back, Conrad Dobler, when they were red and white, and Larry with their team colors, and Larry Wilson was roaming the secondary. So I love those St. Louis Cardinal football teams, and obviously greatest show on turf. I still don't understand why they don't have an NFL team. Jerome Bettis actually started with St. Louis, so a lot of history there. But let's get back to this matchup, and then want to get your quick thoughts on the Penguins before we let you go. A hockey guy from Robert Morris. He is none other than Derek Schooley on the line with us right now. So Vegas holds the edge in the power play. They got championship pedigree. We were talking about last time they won the title, 2023. Marc-Andre Fleury, obviously a part of their early legacy. Carolina's got a very balanced as far as scoring efficiency against all 4 lines. And when you have a guy by the name of Stahl, with the last name Stahl in the lineup, and they got a legendary coach, former Carolina, our own Ron Francis, had a cup of coffee with them and did well. So this thing could go 7 games, don't you think? Maybe?
Well, I really like Vegas's defense, but Carolina's been. Nobody would have been surprised about Carolina making the finals coming out of the East when playoffs started. I think Vegas maybe surprised some people, especially the way they manhandled the Avalanche in a sweep. I really believe that it's going to come down to if Carolina's offense can get through Vegas's defense. You look at Montreal, they had trouble getting shots on goal all through the playoffs. They were not as potent offensively and as good defensively as Vegas is. And, you need your stars to be stars. And Vegas has some stars in Jack Eichel, and go down the list of defensemen. They've got a great defensive core, and they just defend so hard. But it's really good to see Jordan Staal back in the finals. It's been since since he was with the Penguins that
long time
for him to get back to the finals. Yeah.
All right, he's all grown up now. Boy, he was a kid. I don't even think he was shaving when he was here in Pittsburgh. Last thing for you, Gino's back. The line's coming back. Letang, Crosby, and of course the big three, I should say, Crosby, Letang, and Malkin. So what do you think about Gino coming back? I'm gonna let you go.
Well, I think it's one of those things that it's great for him to be able to continue his legacy with Pittsburgh. Very rarely do you see guys finish what they started with their career. Hopefully, most likely you're going to see Crosby and Letang do that as well. That's pretty cool. So to have them back, and he had a great year, and he is taking a little bit of a hometown discount, but for him to come back and continue to be a part of the big three and take them to the playoffs is really neat to watch. And Dan Muse has done an outstanding job coaching that team, and they've got the young core talent coming up behind the big three. So hopefully they can get their goaltending to be solidified again and continue getting back to the mountain that we're expected to have in Pittsburgh.
Coach, thank you so much. Take care of yourself. Safe drive, and we'll talk to you soon, okay?
I always enjoy being on your show, Rob. Thanks for having me.
What a class act. Love that guy. But, I did say this to myself. Gino must have got Greg Daiulis as his agent, because on the back end, they get into the playoffs. He does a couple of things. He could get another $1.5 million.
Don't tag me with that one. He took a hometown discount. I'm not a fan of those hometown discounts.
All right, short break. A little late for the break, but better late than never. Rob Taylor coming up with the news. Then we take it to the top of the hour on the NFL next.
Looking for a great real estate agent? Someone who can help you sell your home fast and for top dollar? Go to ready.com, REDY.com. Because on Ready, agents will pay you just for the opportunity to sell your home. Yeah, on Ready, agents will pay you for your listing. Thousands of dollars up front just for a chance to sell your home. And it's easy. Just go to ready.com, enter your address, and when you want to sell. In just 48 hours, the best local agents are competing on Ready to be your agent, with cash offers up front just to win your business. Hey, your listing is valuable. Don't give it away. Make those agents earn it. Get paid to pick your real estate agent. Go to ready.com or call 888-525-REDY. 888-525-READY.
While you sleep, there are people you've never met who are working hard to make your morning. People who get up at ungodly hours to make sure you get the information you want. People who dedicate their lives to make yours better while you sleep. These people come together during the Big K Morning Show with Larry Richert, 5:30 to 10 in the morning, to make sure you have the best news, traffic, and weather to start your day. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA. From the Aetna Medicare Studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
It is 70 degrees at Pittsburgh International at 12:30. I'm Rob Taylor. Pittsburgh police say they located an unresponsive male on the ground in the parking lot of a business this morning in Squirrel Hill. They located him around 4:30 in the 5700 block of Forward Avenue. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Police say his injuries were consistent with being run over by a vehicle. That's when a woman was taken into custody for questioning. Pittsburgh Police Violent Crime Unit detectives, they're leading the investigation. And the man who was killed after that dirt bike he was riding collided with a PRT bus, he's been identified. Medical examiner has identified him as 33-year-old Deshaun Davis. The accident happened around 6 o'clock Saturday evening at Frankstown and Brushton Avenues in Homewood. Tracy Hall, who runs a food truck in the area and was about a block away from the accident, told KDKA Television.
It's a tragedy. I pray to God comforts his family.
The incident is under investigation by Pittsburgh Regional Transit Police. KDKA Radio News Time, it's 12:31. Next updates at 1. I'm Rob Taylor on the Voice of Pittsburgh, News Radio KDKA.
The birds are singing, the flowers are in bloom, the sun is shining. What more can we ask for? Maybe to feel great and be the best version of ourselves. This is Dr. Shufo from the Weight Loss and Wellness Center. Isn't it time to take care of ourselves now? We put it off during the cold, dark, dreary days of winter. But it's time now. Get rid of that extra weight, which affects our movement, our physical health, and yes, affects our mental and emotional health. Have more self-confidence and self-esteem. Be happy, be healthy, be alive. Call me at 1-800-900-THIN.
Paid advertisement for non-attorney spokesperson. Victory Legal Network is not a law firm. Cases may be referred to participating law firms. Compensation is not guaranteed.
Attention parents. Was your baby born premature and then given Similac or Enfamil brand formula in the hospital? Studies now show that premature infants given cow's milk-based baby formula face a much higher risk of developing necrotizing enterocolitis, or NEC. If you or your loved one had a premature baby and was given one of these baby formulas, you may qualify for significant compensation. Visit govictory44.com now to see if you qualify. A recent jury awarded $60 million in compensation to the family of a child who developed NEC. Families are now taking action. Visit govictory44.com now to see if you qualify for significant compensation. If your baby was given Similac or Enfamil and later diagnosed with NEC, you may qualify for significant compensation, but time is limited. Strict filing deadlines apply, and waiting could mean losing your opportunity for justice. Don't wait. Visit govictory44.com today to see if you qualify. That's govictory44.com.
Paid for by Victory Legal Network.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Nice finish to the month of May. Mostly sunny this afternoon. I-76, partly cloudy tonight, low 48. Sunny to partly cloudy tomorrow. I-75, mostly sunny, still dry Tuesday, up to 75. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist John Feerick, 100.1 FM and AM 1020, KDKA.
Hi, this is Larry Richard. Join us Monday on the Big K Morning Show, 5:30 until 9, as we welcome the month of June with a list of things that you can do in and around our hometown.
All right, by the way, Ted is off today. He has to take a flight to parts unknown, but he'll be back with us next week. And next week, Rockin' Regatta 2026. We're going to be live at the Pittsburgh Brewing location. Can't wait, out in Creighton, PA, off of Route 28. Stop by, have a cold brew, spend a little time with us. We're going to get a nice little panel of some folks who love sports, and we're going to chop it up for a couple of hours. So that's coming up next week. Joe Giordano will be back as well. And Mr. Diolas may or may not be there because he may have some business in Las Vegas, Nevada. But let's take care of business in the way of the NFL. And if you want to jump in here, we're going to open the phones up. Anything on your mind in the wonderful world of sports, 866-391-1020, because we're always giving you some home cooking about our town and our teams. But this segment, I thought we'd get caught up in some things making news around the National Football League. So Patrick Mahomes, are you a believer that he can get them back to the promised land? Go ahead, Greg.
Well, he's got that kid that wears 87 that he can throw the rock to quite often, that they're going to come back for one more victory lap at least. So I think, now Patty's coming off of that surgery, and hopefully he'll be ready to go by the start of the regular season. Most reports have it that even during training camp he's going to be limited. So I want to make sure that he's back 100% and ready to rock and roll at the beginning of the season.
So for the kid from Ohio, he put some money where his mouth is and bought a little bit of put some money down on the Cleveland Indians. Got a few shares of the Cleveland Guardian now.
He's a brilliant investor, and he's got his hand in a lot of different things. But when it comes to, he's got that soft spot for all things Cleveland and Cleveland Heights. So anytime he can have an opportunity to do something like that, he enjoys it.
Well, I'm sure he's excited. Not to mention he's engaged to the beautiful Taylor Swift. But word out of the NBA world is that Giannis could actually team up with LeBron James next year in Cleveland. So that would be a pretty big story, would it not?
That would be a huge story to see those guys try to put something together for the Cavaliers, because that's where LeBron got his start, and it would be fun to kind of see him do it again.
All right, so let me ask you, as an agent, Justin Fields is the backup now in Kansas City. So what happens if he and Patrick can't go the first month and he just lights it up and lives up to everything that we thought he would be coming out of Ohio State? Fell short with Chicago, fell short with the Steelers, fell short with the Jets. Sam Darnold did it. So what happens? Why would he want this? Because it's the only job he could get in the National Football League. But what would a former first-rounder just a young guy still, under 30. Why would he want this gig?
Yeah, well, we often refer to that move as a stub year. You know, he didn't get an opportunity to get any large guaranteed money over a long period of time that would be worth jumping into. So you want to find a place where you have a likelihood of getting yourself on the field, establishing yourself again as a prominent figure, a starter in the National Football League, and then with the full knowledge that you're not planning on this being your full-time home. You're just trying to get enough good games to get you that bigger contract the next time around. You know, it only takes 3, maybe 6 good games, and you almost want you get 6 good games, and then you almost want Mahomes to come back, and you're done, and then you know that you're going to jump into something else from there. Remember, Matt Hasselbeck was backed up Brett Favre. He had a half of a good season, parlayed it into a big contract with the Seattle Seahawks, and never did much after that. It just takes a few good games, and everybody thinks that that's the next guy. It doesn't always work out, but you want to do that as a quarterback. Use that stub year to get some momentum going so that you can get a big contract.
Like you said about Matt, never got back there, but he does a great job as an analyst on ESPN. But Drake May did get there, but did not get the prized possession that is the Lombardi Trophy. Will he get back there, do you think?
They're pretty good. They've got enough crazy stuff going around them that hopefully they can focus and refocus the organization once the season gets underway, and I think they will. It seems like most of that garbage has died down now with regard to their head coach and having the problems Coach Vrabel. So I think that they're going to be very tough to beat. But they, in their division, they should be able to get out of it pretty easily because there's nothing else in the division.
How do you see the Steelers quarterback room finalizing? What do you think is going to happen there?
They'll trade or just release Mason Rudolph, and they'll go with Aaron Rodgers and then the 2 young guys.
So if you were available as far as to take a call from Mason Rudolph, and he said, I need you to help me, is he still worthy of the National Football League?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, there's certainly spaces for him to be the number 2 guy with an opportunity to carry a team when necessary, but you don't want to end up being stuck with him being the guy that you are putting at control of the franchise for 10 to 12 games.
Kyler Murray, little things in big packages, so hopefully the little guy with the big arm and the big talent and the big heart can make it work in Minnesota. The question is, what about J.J. McCarthy, and how do you see Kyler Murray with his new home in Minnesota?
I think if he has to be the guy that is running the organization, then they're in some trouble. You know, they just signed Nolan Teasley as their general manager yesterday from the Seattle Seahawks organization. So they were kind of rudderless for about 5 months. And with the new general manager taking over, it's going to give a new intrigue to what's going to go on at Minnesota. But I think it's got to be the Michigan product that is at the helm. They've invested in him, made him their first-round pick, and hopefully he's going to be able to live up to the expectations that they had for him.
New Highmark Stadium in Buffalo under construction, so there's new hope with the new coach. Can Joe Brady get them to the promised land and Josh Allen?
Yeah, I think so. When you have a Josh Allen, you can be very good, and that's the the keynote to the opposite of what you have in New England. So that's a 2-horse race in that division, and hopefully. Well, not hopefully, but I think that Buffalo can be a contender there, but I think it's going to be New England that's going to be the odds-on favorite to win that division.
Will the Rams regret taking Ty Simpson, do you think?
Yes.
Why did they do that?
I don't. It's hard to figure out. I guess they know that Stafford is on his way out eventually.
Bad back, 39, soon to be 39.
Yeah, but he's the type of guy who's willing to probably have a guy work at his knee and kind of teach the next guy the up and coming things on the ropes. But it didn't seem to me that Ty Simpson was worthy of such a high draft pick. You probably could have traded down and still gotten him.
All right, so looks as though A.J. is headed out of town to New England, maybe as early as June 1st, which happens to be tomorrow, could come down the next couple of days. Philadelphia, are they going to be able to retool to be that championship team, and is Jalen Hurts still the guy?
I never count out Howie Roseman and what they can do in Philadelphia. Those guys are brilliant, and they'll do a nice job. They'll always be able to be competitive. So, yes, they can do it.
Tennessee Titans emerge maybe as the league's biggest turnaround this year. New coach, new thought process, good quarterback.
Yeah, I like Saleh. I think that that can be something that really gets them reinvigorated, regenerated, whatever the word you want to be. They still have a battle, but the AFC South is something that they can be probably very competitive in early.
What happens with the Raiders and Mendoza? And Mark Davis is basically selling everything in the kitchen sink. He's hanging on to just a few shekels. So I look there could be a complete new ownership with the Oakland Raiders very soon. But one thing is for sure, they got a big-time quarterback coming off the national championship, first-round selection. When do you think he starts to play? Next year or maybe this year?
No, I think he's their starting quarterback when they
the Cousins will back him up.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that you don't put that kind of take that leap of faith and make him the number one, and not put him in there as your quarterback. He's going to have a lot of growing pains, though.
All right, so what about Detroit? Can they finally get to the promised land?
They kind of took a step back last year. I think we really believed in them going into the season last year as being the team that would be a Super Bowl contender or a potential winner of the Super Bowl. And I felt that they did take a little bit of a step back, but they'll be quite competitive.
All right, so before we take a break, we're going to come back. Anything else intriguing you in the National Football League, which doesn't ever sleep? But I will say this, I subscribe to Comcast. I will always be a member of Comcast. I know you had your issues because of Pitt. I always stood by Comcast, but I'm going through a very tough time right now because of the big Disney takeover with the network. They have not signed a contract with Comcast, so I have not been able to get the NFL network.
I did not realize that was the case, and I have Comcast, so I didn't know that we don't have the NFL network right now.
I'm having a really difficult time. So the Pirates aren't the only team close to the basement. I'm living in the basement, and I miss my NFL network. So what's going to happen there? Do you know?
They always figure these things out. It takes a little bit of time. You know what they need to do is call Heather Lyke and have them tell you to call your cable provider and ask to order. And don't just ask, but demand that you get the ACC network.
Listen, I've stood by Comcast forever. Everything I have is Comcast, okay? I got like 10 TVs. It's my only vice. I stream everything. There are some weeks I go without food just to stream, okay? And every day I wake up or I go home like today, first thing I do, and I know they won't do it on a Sunday, one eye I kind of peek and I go, boom. And I look, and this is not signed, so I'm just hoping, please get the NFL network back under contract.
We had to watch the Pirates on that goofy two clowns doing the game on Apple TV on Friday night. It would have been so much fun with the walk-off home run and have our regular guys and Hannah Mears doing the interview, and we got some buddy that I didn't recognize.
Listen, that Brian Reynolds, man, that was something.
That was.
Listen, O'Neal.
That's the most emotion I've seen him show in an awful long time.
Yeah, but O'Neal Cruz you got to keep this guy. I mean, I just keep thinking, all these players, all this talent, I hope they got a game plan.
But, Rob, what a butcher he is in the outfield.
Greg, you're right. They got to put him in the infield. They got to do something.
Something
or right field, like you said, right
move
field.
Him over.
Yeah, right field. That would be good. All right, we're going to come back. One more segment, then Greg's out of here. I'm heading home for a couple of hours. We're back all week, 6 to 10. But don't forget, a week from today, if you want to see everybody in person, going to bring some folks with us to talk sports, a little bit of a roundtable. Looking forward to going back to a place and a company that I was the spokesperson for years. Nothing quite like Pittsburgh Brewing. Creighton, the brand new facility. It's the Rockin' Regatta 2026, and we're going to be there with the Coons Market Black and Gold Sunday Show. The Jagoffs will be there. Michael Bartley's going to be there, so we're really pumped up about that. Short break. Back with more in a moment.
When you need to know, depend on the news leader. At home, in your car, or at work. The voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM, AM 1020, and KDKA-radio.com.
Hey folks, my friends at NASCO Roofing take pride in exceeding customer expectations. Scott from Aspinwall was amazed at NASCO's quality, honesty, work ethic, and superior craftsmanship. Scott loved working with NASCO and appreciated that NASCO doesn't use high-pressure sales tactics like other companies. NASCO has satisfied thousands like Scott. Get NASCO on your roof. Call NASCO Roofing, 412-373-2000, 412-373-2000. Most jobs done in a day. Special financing available. NASCO Roofing, NASCO.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. My best advice to you when hiring a lawyer for your injury case is simple. If you know court personnel, ask them who they'd hire. They know. If you know an insurance adjuster, ask them. They know. And then ask them about us. Ask them about Morgan & Morgan. They know. I look forward to talking to you soon. There's only one Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm for the people. Injured? Dial pound law.
Morgan & Morgan, 603 Stanwyck Street, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania lawyer will handle Pennsylvania cases. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-358-6868. That's 800-358-6868. Again, 800-358-6868.
SchultzFord.com. 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 SchultzFord.com.
It's the Black and Gold Sunday Show on News Radio KDKA. Presented by Coons Market, a Pittsburgh tradition.
Now let's talk the Pittsburgh Steelers. What's on your mind with the Pittsburgh Steelers, Greg?
This time of year, it's always one of those things, keep everybody safe. Don't get anybody hurt. Get into your process. Learn the systems that you have to implement. You got a new offensive coordinator, a new offensive scheme, so everything is going to be new that you're working under. The only guy that knows it is Aaron Rodgers. Everybody else is has never kind of even been in it before. So it's just time for them to kind of get involved, get in the process, and then on the defensive side of the ball, just kind of get everything, get the rookies in there to get knowledge of the process, knowing the program. You really aren't going to get a whole lot of production out of the rookies on that side of it, but you hope to have a little bit of something.
Now, this is just curiosity. So, been watching a lot of sports in various platforms, and obviously when you're getting into the NHL playoffs and you're getting into the NBA or any playoffs, NFL, they always kind of go back to the legacy and the players of yesteryear. And as I was watching that thing about the Knicks, when the Garden was Eden, they didn't work out a lot. They ate whatever they wanted. They smoked in the locker room, drank beer, and they had jobs like selling insurance during the off season. And other than a few pulled muscles, these guys basically were like rubber bands. They just kept playing and playing and playing. And now when you think of all the nutrition and the off-season workouts that they hire people, and LeBron supposedly spends $1 million a year on his body, right, but they're always hurt, or they pull a hamstring, or they're out for the NBA seventh game because they tweaked a toenail. And I'm being a little facetious, but you think sometimes we do overthink it a little bit?
We certainly do. I mean, there's some body types that can just go out there and, wake up in the middle of January and hit a line drive. It just, you got to be smart to a certain extent, but then you see, some of these golfers that kind of look out of shape. They look funky, but they hit the ball and they're never hurt. They play deep into their 60s. Ray Floyd was a guy that never looked like much. But even if you look at some of the the baseball players that are out there, they aren't the best body types, but they sure as heck can put the ball where it needs to be in the right locations. And I think either you're blessed or you're not blessed. But if you're not blessed, sometimes you can work yourself into being good enough.
All right, so let me give you some advice, all of you youngsters out there who love playing tennis. French Open underway. Coco Gauff got knocked out yesterday, the defending champ, the American, so that was tough to take. But if you're outside playing any sports and you were just up close with Greg Norman, so nobody was as close to Greg Norman in my entire life, closer than you. And I guarantee you, if I ask you this question, you're going to say, you're right. Your skin gets torched playing in the sun as much as these players do. And for years, they never wore hats. He, of course, later came out with that legendary shark fedora of his, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like a straw hat type of thing. You must protect your skin when you're out doing these games. And when you're young, you don't think of it. But I've seen people like Johnny Miller later in life, and others, even Jack Nicklaus, that sun can do a number on you, can it not?
Yeah, and you look, there are a lot of golfers, particularly the Asian players, and especially on the women's side, that wear the long sleeves all the time, just to kind of protect against the dangers of skin cancer. And I do wear one of those Greg Norman shark hats when I play golf, because my bald head would be in trouble without that. But yeah, and it always amazes me when you see the golfers on the 18th hole when they take their hats off to shake hands, and they have, the white forehead as compared to the sunshine and sunburnt cheeks of their face. It looks kind of odd, but yeah, it is important to throw some sunscreen on when you're out there doing all that. Yeah. And I say that while I'm going to go sit next to the pool today and sit there with my shirt off and no hat.
Yeah, but that's different. You have that icy light to kind of, balance things out a little bit.
Of course, that's got sunblock in it. You didn't realize that?
No, I did not realize that. All right, here's the other thing. Steelers offensive line. They've been switching things around a little bit, moving Fatanu from one side to the other. Frazier's like the only anchor. Why are they doing that? What are they looking for, do you think, the Steelers right now?
I think they're just wanting to see some versatility, to get one of those just-in-case type of, oh, my goodness, this combination looks really good in this setting. Keeping in mind, they don't play a football game until September 10th or whatever it is, or a game that matters. So it's that time where you kind of get some versatility, get some cross-training, get guys used to playing left-handed as opposed to right-handed, work on footwork and all the other places where just in case you get into a game where a couple guys get dinged up and all of a sudden you have to play in a different position, at least make it so that it's not 100% unique to your player.
So when you look at the Steelers right now, Aaron Rodgers is back. Are they a better football team with him on the football team? Does he make that much of a difference at the age soon to be 43 in December?
Man, that's a heck of a good question. My opinion is that they are not. That the mobility is no longer there, and that reduces your effectiveness. I would much rather see one of the other younger quarterbacks who I don't necessarily believe in. But
you don't believe in either one of them, do you?
Not really, no. But I want to see them.
But
they're on our roster. You got to see them.
But is that an agent's point of view because of the big fat first round paycheck? Or because that you're a football fan and you've seen enough to realize that they don't have enough talent to be franchise quarterbacks?
Well, I watched both of them a lot in their senior seasons in college, and I didn't see NFL franchise type leadership out of either of them. Howard, the first 6 games of his senior year at Ohio State after he transferred over from Kansas State, they were booing him out of the horseshoe. He caught fire later in like we talked about earlier, the last 6 games, 6 good games. Give me 6 good games, I'll get you a good contract. I just don't know that his body of work justifies him being handed the reins. And clearly, and I'm not a Penn State fan, although I'm a fan of college football. We didn't see much out of Aller, but the question is, did he have the coaching?
All right, last thing, what's on the menu today, poolside at the estate?
We're going to go some ribs today.
Ooh.
Dad said he wanted ribs as we were leaving church, so he's getting ribs.
There you go. That's a good sign. If we don't see you next week, have a safe trip, but if not, we'll see you for sure in 2 weeks.
Sounds good, brother.
Stay with us. Rob Taylor next with the news all week, 6 to 10 next week. Rockin' Regatta on location, Pittsburgh Brewing, Creighton, Pennsylvania. Don't you dare miss it.
While you sleep, there are people you've never met who are working hard to make your morning. People who get up at ungodly hours to make sure you get the information you want. People who dedicate their lives to make yours better while you sleep. These people come together during the Big K Morning Show with Larry Richert, 5:30 to 10 in the morning, to make sure you have the best news, traffic, and weather to start your day. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
Shopping for replacement windows? Metropolitan Window Company elevates your shopping experience.
John, Maggie, and Justin Schmutzer here from Metropolitan Window Company, Pittsburgh's locally owned and family-operated window and door company for over 47 years.
When you choose Metropolitan Window Company, you'll experience personalized knowledge, expertise, and professionalism from our first visit to your home until our craftsmen complete your installation.
We're the window company that people want in their homes, and our exclusive Infinity by Marvin 100% fiberglass windows are the windows people love.
They're built for life. They are the strongest, longest-lasting windows you can buy.
And we have a great selection of colors and finishes. Experience Metropolitan Window Company. Stop by our showrooms, visit us at metropolitanwindows.com, or give us a call at 412-655-8411.
PA 1565.
Retirement can be scary, but only if you're not prepared. That's why AARP created thisispretirement.org. Because unless you've already retired, you're in pretirement, and you still have time to plan. Learn about retirement savings options, potential tax breaks, and how you can build savings over time. Visit thisispretirement.org for free resources to help you customize your action plan and feel the retirement fear disappear. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out? Spruce, spruce, spruce.
It's spruce, the weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people, pets, and bees. When used as directed, spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour, and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Spruce, pet friendly, weed deadly. Find wherever weed killers are sold.
The Village at St. Barnabas, the perfect place for mom.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
If you're in the Pittsburgh area and caring for a loved one with Medicaid, get paid starting today. Freedom Care has already helped over 162,000 families get the care they deserve, with 97% satisfaction and more than 8,000 five-star reviews. If you have Medicaid, you need to hear this. You may qualify to choose a caregiver you already trust, a family member or friend, and they can start getting paid. No agencies, no strangers, just someone you know, helping with meals, medication, bathing, mobility, and more. This service isn't for later, it's for right now. It's 100% free to you through Medicaid, and caregivers get paid right away after their shift. Find out if you qualify today. Call 412-801-7213. That's 412-801-7213. Don't wait. Call 412-801-7213 now. Again, 412-801-7213. Freedom Care. Get paid to care, starting now.
Freedom Care, we're here for you.
100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA, covered by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 platinum roofing company. Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
KDKA and KDKA FM HD2 Pittsburgh, W261AX Pittsburgh.
From the Aetna Medicare Studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
It is 71 degrees at Pittsburgh International at 1 o'clock. I'm Rob Taylor. The man who died after the dirt bike he was riding collided with a PRT bus in Homewood has been identified. Allegheny County Medical Examiner has identified him as 33-year-old Deshaun Davis. The crash happened around 6 o'clock Saturday evening at Frankstown and Brushton Avenues in Homewood. Davis was pronounced dead at the scene. It's unknown if anybody aboard the bus was injured in that crash. The incident is under investigation by Pittsburgh Regional Transit Police. In Squirrel Hill this morning, Pittsburgh police located an unresponsive male on the ground in the parking lot of a business. They found him around 4:30 this morning in the 5700 block of Forward Avenue. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Police said his injuries were consistent with being hit by a vehicle. A woman was taken into custody for questioning, and Pittsburgh Police Violent Crime Unit detectives are leading that investigation. 2 people were taken to the hospital late last night following a crash on Route 51. It happened just before midnight between Lime and Lewis Streets. It's unclear the conditions of the 2 people who were transported to the hospital. Pittsburgh police, they're investigating that crash. A professional basketball player was taken into custody as soon as he got off a flight at Pittsburgh International Airport for, according to police, owing more than $100,000 in child support. Police say 36-year-old DeAndre Kane failed to appear for a family court hearing about missed child support payments from 2023. When he returned to Pittsburgh Friday from Iceland, where he plays professional basketball, that's when authorities arrested him. He was taken to the Allegheny County Jail to await a hearing in family court. Kane starred for